I think social media plays a big role in being alone or having that feeling of loneliness, because the whole goal of like social media, these different websites and apps, is to get you to stay on the app as long as possible. So anytime you stop using it, you have this like feeling of, I don't know, I'm not connected. I don't know what people are doing. So you got to go jump back into the app. I would just be mindful of like how much time you're spending in that.
People are searching for a place to belong, a place that they feel like they matter. But have you ever felt like you're an outcast, that you don't fit in anywhere? Well, the good news is that God didn't create you to do life alone. Switch, we're in our final episode of Must Have Jesus, and talking with Justin and Andrew. The past few conversations, we've talked about things like stress and joy. We've talked about influence, and we've also talked about how to find hope. Well, today we're talking about how we can find community.
Loneliness, I feel like that's something that is a really big topic. And I feel like when people see you all and you have millions of followers, they would never expect you to feel lonely. But Could you say that's something you've ever dealt with or you ever feel?
Yeah, I'd say definitely experienced loneliness before. You can look at a number and be like, wow, they must have so many friends and this and that. But it's like, it's just a number. It's people on a screen. You're not having like genuine conversations with, deep conversations with. But thankfully, have community, have people around me, Andrew, other friends, a church that I can fall back on whenever I am or have felt lonely before.
Back in college, because we both went to film school, and you would think going to film school, you'd build these like little bonds of people who are all like, oh, we want to be, making movies and all this stuff. But like for us, we were kind of more on the YouTube track. And back then, if you went to film school and you were wanting to do YouTube, you were looked down upon. You were looked at as this amateur, someone who didn't belong in the group, that type of stuff. So my personal journey being in film school with all these people, what you would think you would feel, a belonging there. But in reality, it was like, felt really isolated and kind of disconnected from everyone else there because of what I was trying to pursue.
For me, on a personal level, I felt lonely before during my younger years when I experienced bullying. Obviously, that's a situation that many people go through, and it's just like you feel just kind of not valuable, not loved, and all alone because no one's coming to your rescue to help you. And so that's definitely been difficult, but God's used it, thankfully. But I totally understand and empathize with anybody who's gone through that because it's definitely really hard.
So you guys have like a busy schedule, always doing crazy things. So how do you guys go about finding community now?
Well, we both go to Life.Church, so it's easy to connect with the people there. When we were a little younger, we would go to the youth groups, but I think our circle of friends has been able to grow, and the people we work with, we're able to hang out with, do stuff with. So that's been really helpful. It's just kind of like making time for people.
Have you ever felt like an outcast or like you don't belong? How can you find people who understand you, people that help you feel comfortable in your own skin, but also help push you out of your comfort zone? Through serving others, you can find a place to belong.
Serving is really awesome. I get to use my programming skills to help my team.
I've been able to use my love of computers to help launch other campuses.
Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Someone once said, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." As followers of Jesus, when we interact with people, people should feel God's love through talking with us. Because part of following Jesus is loving everyone the same way that God has loved us. But what comes with that is that we have to be careful with the people that we choose to put in our inner circle. Because the people that you spend the most time with are the people that you become the most like. They shape your values, they shape the way that you talk, the way that you act. So who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? And make sure you're choosing them wisely. Part of the reason we're intentional about the people we surround ourselves with is because we know the enemy wants us to be isolated. In my own life, when I don't let people in to what's going on in my mind, that's when doubt and insecurity of who God has called me to be, it creeps into my mind. In 1 Peter 5:8, it says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour."
How would you guys encourage our students with, if they're feeling alone, what would you tell them?
I think social media plays a big role in being alone or having that feeling of loneliness, because the whole goal of like social media, these different websites and apps, is to get you to stay on the app as long as possible. The app wants you to feel like the only place of belonging you have is in the app and with the people there. So anytime you stop using it, you have this like feeling of, I don't know, I'm not connected. I don't know what people are doing. So you got to go jump back into the app. I would just be mindful of like how much time you're spending in that.
Somebody said this to me one time that stuck with me. Was telling me about how he didn't follow anybody on Instagram. He had an Instagram account, but he didn't follow anybody. And he did that because he didn't want to know what was going on in other people's lives, so he could be genuinely interested to know what's going on in someone's life. Because if he was to check out someone's story, he already knows what they did. So when he sees them, he's like, "Hey, what'd you do recently?" "Oh, well, I already know." I thought that was really, really cool, because it's like then you're present in the moment. You literally are genuine and don't know what's going on. So that was something that stuck with me that I could do a whole lot better job at.
Loneliness, I've just have a big heart for it, just because I think it is really important to talk about, because the Bible says that, you know, the enemy prowls around like a lion looking to seek, kill, and destroy. When you think about how a lion like actually like hunts its prey, they will hunt like at night, in the shadows, looking for one that's fallen back from the pack, one that's like isolated. So I think just when you're keeping that in mind about how important community is, you don't want to be left alone. You don't want to be isolated, because that's just such a dangerous place to be. That's why I would encourage everybody watching, all the students and everybody, just seek out the community, be around people like in person and face to face, just so you're not being isolated and setting yourself up for something bad.
Throughout this series, we've talked about hope, influence, stress and joy, and we finished up with community. I want you this week to focus on community, because God didn't create you to do life alone. He's given you unique gifts, talents. You have a unique story that only you have, and He wants to use you to connect others to Him. So a couple questions for you this week. How can you appreciate the unique way that God has created you? How can you step outside of your comfort zone to connect with others?